It looked at half-time like they were going to go through in third place regardless, but they fell outside of the teams in third place that would go through. And now they don't even have to worry about that, finishing with 4 points.
Yeah, their backs were up against the wall coming into this match. And you could talk to a lot of Ecuadorians, and we have some Ecuadorians here in studio, and every single one of them were pissed off with how this team was playing, pissed off with the lack of conviction in the final third, the lack of quality, and most importantly, the lack of composure. Bottled up in the form of Enner Valencia. He's a legend. He's the all-time leading goal scorer for the national team. But I said this, my biggest worry for them was who was going to step up and score the goals if Enner Valencia wasn't going to be the guy. Today, we finally got answers. Nilson Angulo and, of course, Gonzalo Plata, who did the business at the Club World Cup last summer. So, Grell, this is what football is all about. Big players stepping up in big games, in big moments, and they did that today.
Ecuador is a problem. It's a big problem for a lot of teams. They conceded 5 goals. I mentioned this earlier. Conceded 5 goals in the qualifying against some of the best teams in the world. When you look at it at high altitude, a lot of those games are played at. Physical side, organized side, good manager. They just have trouble scoring goals. But at a knockout stage, you can say, hey, we're going to defend. Yeah. No problem. We'll hit on the counter. We'll defend. You come to us. Let's see what we can get from the game. They score a goal from a set piece. They're a bogey team for a lot of big boys coming into the tournament now that are playing well. And the perfect example is a team like Germany with a high pedigree, high history, better players. Ecuador can trip those teams up now in the knockout stage, so I was really impressed with them. On the flip side, though, Germany just went through the motions today. They really went through the motions today. I don't know if, we mentioned before, there's a way maybe that they can rest the players and get a good result and keep the momentum going, right? Is there a way they can do both? Well, they found a way to do the opposite. They found a way not to rest the players and also not get the result. Yeah. So I don't know where they're going. This is not the Germany I know from growing up watching them play. But we'll see in the knockout stage what happens.
Yeah, it was almost a double negative, wasn't it, for Germany, because they weren't able to do either of the things that you mentioned. But just by the way, with Ecuador, how crazy is it going to be, Mike, that the fact they could most likely draw against Mexico in the next round and play them in Mexico City? How much of a threat do you think they could pose to Eltree?
Look, this is now with a confidence-building result like this. This could be the Ecuadorian side that no one wants to play. And you talk so much about the altitude factor, the pollution at Azteca and Mexico City. That goes out the window because Quito is much higher than Azteca and Mexico City. This is such a significant moment for Ecuadorian football. You go back to, I think, the 2019 U20 World Cup. That was when you really saw this modern-day evolution of this Ecuadorian national team, where they made a run, I think, to the semifinal and really took the world by storm. A lot of these players coming through the Independiente del Valle academy system on display today, and it just goes to show, if you have the right investment, if you have the right academy system and the grassroots culture, you can do amazing things. And they left it really late. Just to get some context of this is only the second time Ecuador have made it to the knockout round. And the last time they did it was 2006. Wow. They're in the same group with Germany. So they got revenge over the Germans, who they lost 3-0 on the final match day, knowing they'd already punched their ticket to the knockout round. But this is massive. I know a lot of Ecuadorians in Newark, New Jersey, Ecuadorians down in the Philadelphia area. There's going to be a massive party tonight, Pop, both in Jersey, both in New York, and definitely down in Philly.
That's what we were saying earlier. We love so much how New York, especially, or the entirety of America, is such a melting pot for so many different cultures. So they are so well supported when they come here. Germany, on the other hand, Grell, I mean, if you, Julian Nagelsmann, after this match, how are you reflecting on it? Are you thinking bigger picture? The reality is it doesn't do any damage to them. They had already won the group. But maybe some selection questions now for him? Or do you think after what we saw today, he's going to ride out the same 11 come the knockouts? I
don't know about the 11 that he'll pick. He's got a lot of good options, but for sure he's going to, I think, to the group, he'll say, okay, no problem, let's move on, keep the vibes high, keep the train moving in forward, but for sure they're going to take the video and look at it and be like, look, this situation happened too many times. This situation happened too many times, and they're going to have to fix those things. There's a weakness in the Germany squad, and for sure Nagelsmann is going to look and try to figure that out and make them a stronger team. Just quickly on Ecuador, you're Mexico. You get 9 points. You don't concede a goal in the group stage. They were having a party last game, by the way. It looked incredible.
It was
the stadium.
Amazing.
Yeah. Before the game started, they were very likely they were going to play potentially Scotland, someone like that. It would have been cigarette in the mouth, no problem. Now all of a sudden Ecuador goes through. Last minute from a set piece. Now you have to play Ecuador, a team that's used to playing at high altitude, a team that's used to playing in heat, a team that's pretty tough. Talk about the curse of competence there. 9 points and you get to go play Ecuador.
Is Ecuador one of the worst teams of a third place finish
I don't want to play
you would want to
Ecuador.
play?
Yeah, Pop, it really is, because we've already seen a bit of contentious nature in the third group stage game aside between El Tri fans and the national team and some of the performances. And that sounds crazy to say because, you go back to the last World Cup and Mexico were a disaster under Tata Martino. They're the sort of team in Ecuador that they have no problem defending for their lives. They have arguably some of the best defenders, young defenders at this World Cup. William Pacho, Pierre Hincapié, Joel Ordóñez, who is going to go for a big money transfer move at some point after this World Cup if he decides to leave Club Brugge. But imagine a world where they play Mexico and it's 0-0. The longer it goes 0-0,
the more comfortable Ecuador will be.
Yeah, the Mexican fans are going to lose their mind. What we saw from Germany today, Pop, not good enough. I don't care if they've already punched their ticket to get through. Germany will only go as far as Julian Nagelsmann will let them. Today, I thought he got a lot of things wrong. There's a lot of problems with this German national team. And I think winning in the style they did against Côte d'Ivoire covers the cracks. The number one elephant in the room today, Manuel Neuer, is not good enough to play as the number one for the German national team. It was him at fault for that goal. If you go back and watch the tape, I dare you to watch that tape 5, 6, 7 times. There is no world where Manuel Neuer should ever give up a goal like that. The ball gets played in at the near post. He goes to grab it. He literally goes to grab it like this, and Plata comes, touches it by him. Not good enough. Germany have a bad situation in goalkeeper.
I'm looking forward to actually talking more about Germany in just a second, because we're going to look at the ratings for all the players throughout the first 3 games and really where they go from here. Just to touch on Ecuador and where they stood very quickly at half-time, because obviously it looked a lot different for them. And they knew, I suppose that's the beauty as well of playing today, they knew exactly what they needed.
How many points did Ecuador have at halftime?
Well, they had 3, but they needed 4.
They had 2. I told you 20 times in the break.
Hang on. Grella was confusing me. What I was trying to say is it was 1-1 between Germany and Ecuador. So they had 1 point at halftime. Grella thought I was talking about the big picture, the group standings, which I wasn't. So like normal, we were having 2 different conversations. Here's the graphic.
We got there in the end.
Confirmation of it, because Bosnia and Herzegovina were the only team that really changed, weren't they, at halftime, because they did clinch their place in the next round, where they most likely will play against the US men's national team. And then you can see the top 8. Scotland, by the way, were in it as of then. Ecuador were 10th because they had 2 points. But now they're looking much better. At full time, they're through. They're completely safe because they finished with 4 points.
Yes.
We're speaking the same language now, Grant,
we are.
right?
Yeah.
Scotland's still in there, by the way, but it doesn't look like it's going to stay that way because we still have so many more games to play.
Imagine going in with 3 points, -3 goal difference. It's tough. It's tough. And like we said earlier, that would be the first Scottish team to go on paper to the knockout stages. It's tough. That's one that you just like, okay, whatever. But Ecuador going there is good. Bosnia there is good. Sweden obviously coming up is a very big match for them. Paraguay, Australia going to be in that conversation. So I guess there's a lot of fun games coming up in terms of the third place live table.
Yeah, very quick, Pop, before we go to break, I want to give a special shout out to a player that I actually gave a dig at in Moises Caicedo after the match against Curaçao. And I mentioned how significant it was for Sebastian Becasete to go and make him the captain. And Ener Valencia, a player who didn't show up until this match and still hasn't shown up this World Cup. Legend for his country. Today, I thought he played the game of his life in an Ecuadorian jersey. Him, Vite. You can go through the back line of William Pacho. They stood up and they were men today. They're going to need to be real men against Mexico should they play them in the knockout round. So he deserves full flowers, and he is the symbol of what Ecuadorian football is going to be. So congrats to you, man.